Education Board. It is therefore suitable for general family viewing.
Hello viewer, welcome to Chungu Cha Jamii. I'm your host Eunice Mugo. Today on the show we are going to talk about adult and continued education. What is adult and continued education? Have you been in a school setup after the years that one is required to be in school? This is the topic today that we are going to tackle to understand why it is good to continue to empower oneself in order to grow and to be able to bridge the gap that is in between there in matters to do with education. On the show, I'm not alone. I have guests who I will allow them to introduce themselves to help us to understand better about today's topic. Welcome, guests. Starting with you, the lady.
My name is Salome Tera. I am the County and Adult and Continuing Education Director, Nairobi County, where we deal with giving a second chance to people to better their lives through education and acquiring skills so that you're able to compete in the ever-changing world. Because life is really dynamic and you've got to keep abreast in order to live it well.
Welcome on the show to you, gentlemen.
Okay, welcome. My name is Jesse Wenena. I'm a senior adult instructor. I'm currently in Kasarani sub-county, where I teach in a center called Committee Prison. There I teach the secondary learners. These are adult learners who missed the secondary section of their learning, and we teach different subjects including science and many other. Yep.
Welcome to the show.
Okay.
Just from the topic under your introduction, adult and continued education. What is adult and continued education, and why is it important at this era of time that we are in?
Basically, adult and continuing education touches on those people from various categories. First category is those people who are dropped out of school before they completed, and they find that there are things they need to do in this life and they're unable. They start off, and then there's a category of those who have never had a chance to go to school. Basically, they need basic literacy to learn how to read, write, and do simple arithmetic. And then we have another cohort that came in. Somebody dropped out of primary, upper primary, or in secondary, and they need to finish. For example, you need to do a trade test. The requirement was you need a KCP certificate. So you get into adult education. Our centers are all over the county and even in the country, where you will be taken through the normal formal primary syllabus, and then you sit for KCP, and that allows you to proceed to whatever level. Or you dropped out in secondary due to one challenge or the other, and you want to go to do a diploma or a certificate in these higher institutions of learning. So you need the KCSE certificate. Get back to us the way you are said, like in community prison, you have learners. We also have learners outside prison, not only prisoners. So you get another chance to come study, and then you do your KCSE. So adult and continuing education basically touches on that, plus also community development, whereby you find that you need to participate in the development of your community. So you need a certain level of education in order to understand the policies that are being brought to your community. How do you integrate with the other people in the community so that you bring development in your own area and your own self-development?
Coming to you, gentlemen, as a tutor, could you help us to understand what is the difference between adult education and the traditional education for the young generation? Because there's a difference of age and also the setup and everything. Kindly take us through.
Okay. What I can say is that first, Adult, their age is different, and they have their age has advanced. So when it comes to their mode of learning, it's quite different. They cannot go to a classroom, the regular classroom. They cannot really observe lessons like have a bell and have all these structured, wear uniforms, have a teacher on duty, have all those things. Because they're adults, you cannot subject an adult to such things. So we teach them differently according to their needs. They have very unique needs. Like their classes are called centers. So we don't take them to normal classes, we take them to centers. And these centers are places where, based within the community, where we have identified, maybe it's a social hall, maybe it's a church, maybe it's a social ground, a community facility that offers room, and then now we create like the teacher brings the learning to that hall. So these centers are varied. Like I can give an example. In my sub-county Kasarani, we have around 19 centers. They are in different places, spread all over. Some based in churches, some based in mosques, and we can start we can start centers whenever possible. So these centers can keep on moving, shifting, and adapting to the needs of these learners. So the learning mode is also very different because the learners agree with the tutor. In adult learners, we say that the adult leads the class. You teach them when they are comfortable and whenever they want to learn. So it's like an arranged learning to those centers.
Maybe to just keep this question to you as well. When you say the student is the one who leads the class, does it say if today collectively the 10 of us decide we don't want to study, the teacher has no choice but to tell us, by all means, go home? Or is there rules and regulations where you put, because everywhere you go in your workplace, in your homes, there tends to be rules and regulations. When it comes to the center, are there rules and regulations to ensure that the center runs smoothly, or is it just going with what the students say, like you mentioned, they lead?
Okay. What I can say is that for adult needs, you don't force things. They come when they are ready. For them, learning is when every other thing is at pass, and they have now seen the need to learn. So their schedule are different. So you have to work with their plan. That's why I say they lead the whole thing. So you look at wherever time fits them all, and then now work with that. Because some of our classes are even on Sundays. Some of our classes are even on Saturdays. We don't follow like Monday to Friday. Some can happen at night. Some can happen in the afternoon. The lessons are also shorter. We agree like for 2 hours. Then we call it off. We cannot do 8 to 9 class. And we cannot really have a strict timetable for them. So that's why I'm saying they lead the show.
Coming to you, Madam Salome.
Maybe before you say that, let me add something. In adult education, we don't even refer to them as teachers. They are called instructors, but they are facilitators. They facilitate learning. Because this adult learner who comes to class is not a fool. This adult learner has a wealth of knowledge that even you as a teacher may not be knowing some of them. So it is a learning situation for everybody in that class to tap into and learn something new. And the purpose that brought this learner in class may be one. But while in that class, you'll find that you learn other things from this learner. And they come in ready to learn, and they can stop learning abruptly because, for example, if you're seated in class with a mama and her phone is on silent mode and a message comes in that the child is sick, learning ends there for that period for that mama because she has an urgent activity. Another thing about these adult learners is they should learn when they are comfortable. We're not saying that they can say today we are not going to learn. They have set rules which they set themselves, because it's not like in primary or secondary school where rules are set by the head teacher and all the rest. Here, these learners set rules and say we shall be in class at this time. We are comfortable. Our phones shall be on silent mode. We shall learn this way, and then they also have that urge to go and read further when they go home. Yeah.
So, adding to that, what is the main motivation for an adult to decide to pursue further education later in life, whereby, given a case scenario of we are many in the family, and my parents could only educate to this level, and then now I have done everything required of me to educate my children, and now I decide to go back to school. As a director, when you're interacting with the students and the senior citizens when they are coming back for classes, what is the main motivation for them to come back to school and empower themselves? Because now they're not doing it for monetary as compared to us young generation. We are doing it to get the papers, get the job, to grow ourselves. But for them, it's purely to grow themselves.
As said of old, necessity is the mother of invention. These people are faced with various challenges. I'll give a very basic example. With the onset of the mobile phone, the mobile phone has grown from that one that used to be shared in the community to the current touch screen. So here is an adult learner who has empowered the children. They have gone to school. They are outside in the city. They are sending him or her a text message, and this person may not be able to read. So maybe the text message is about sending money or doing some development. Now you go to a neighbor who reached somewhere and reads, and the whole story is in the community. So it's no longer a secret. If it was money, you'll be invaded. So they decide, let me get back to the class and learn so that I'll be able to run my own money using my own phone. Another thing is in terms of health. In the yesteryears, you go to the health center, it was injection and all that. But now you see there are drugs that have to be administered to patients, and you are the elderly at home, and one of you is sick. So you must learn how to administer those drugs. So many of these adults are going back in order to solve the challenges they face in their daily life. Be it maybe they are running businesses and they're not doing well, be it like something like Corona where everybody wants to know up to date exactly what was this. Was it a flu? Was it pneumonia? What was it? So they get back to class so that they can solve the challenges that they have been facing each day.
Coming to you, the teacher, as you're taking the senior citizen through the lectures and equipping themselves, what are the challenges and the barriers that you face in a day-to-day class?
One, I can say that the learning process is quite different. Like in normal schools, they mark books and put wrongs and rights, all that. But in our situation, we are very keen at doing that. Because once you put wrongs in a learner's book, and then the child at home finds out that the mom got so many wrongs, it can be a very demotivating situation for the parent to ever advise the child on education, because each parent always tells their children that they were number one. So at some point, the self-esteem aspect is big. Parents have hidden all this time that they know how to learn, and they have played all these. They have played with the system to show their children that they were the best, but literally they were not, and most of them even don't have these papers. So self-esteem is one of them. Then the upcoming issues of mental health is also affecting our learners. The stresses at home, they're bringing them to school, and they can miss for quite some time. They can miss the classes for long. You have like to follow up with them, and some of these issues you cannot address as a person, because maybe you are a younger and the family and the fighting that is happening to the family, you don't have control, or you cannot even advise maybe someone senior than you on matters to do with family, because maybe yours is small or something. So another issue is, again, early pregnancies. I don't know if I can call them early pregnancies, but we have this also again to the families. Ladies join our class, then after some time they get expectant, and maybe they don't have, the family is not stable, they push and pull, and they miss classes because of that. Then issues of poverty. Poverty levels are high, especially in the city, and they have to keep on looking for something to bring back home. So they prefer to go and fetch, maybe wash clothes and do other duties to get money over going to school. So they start, and the dropout rate is quite high. So those are some of the challenges, the psychological issues, the stress, the mental health issues, early pregnancies, and issues to do with poverty that affect so much our centers.
Coming back to you, madam, from what the gentleman has mentioned and listed for us, when you're dealing with the senior citizens, mental health wellness is paramount, given their experience in life, the challenges that they face. When they're in class, what are the structures that you put in place to ensure that they feel safe and welcomed to be in this center compared to spending more time at home, to an extent where they would rather choose being at the center for more hours than stipulated? If they had agreed will be in class 4 hours in a day, now this person decides, I'd rather be in school for the next 6-8 hours in a day rather than being home where I'm not comfortable, where I'm facing the stress. You say that you embrace comfortability in the learning center. What are the criteria that you use to make it not only comfortable but also home, for lack of better words?
That's a good one. Starting to look at adult education is quite wide.
Okay.
In that the type of learners who come in are not just in one sector. They have come in with various challenges. So when we realize that there are mental issues, our instructors, the facilitators, are allowed to work with the resource persons in the community. So in such a case, you find that we invite people from the health sector to come and give a talk to these learners and counsel them. We work with various providers. So somebody from health can come and give a talk. And if the stress-related issue is on finances, we have learning and earning aspects in the adult education, whereby they are also involved in some activities which raise income for them to get something small that they can go home with. So those activities plus having other people come to talk to them and allowing them to share and counseling makes them feel, I can be in this place longer than going home where I'm alone thinking negatively. And in our centers, you'll realize that no adult is wrong. You listen to this person when they give their point, you listen to them, and you as a facilitator or the other learners are not supposed to tell them, no, that is wrong. No. The person may have veered off from a fact and is tending to be more on the myth. So you try and bring this person to the fact in a most comfortable and respectful way than just throwing words at that person. Thank you.
Wow, that one is so interesting. I'd want us to take a short break, but when we come back, I'd want to know what drives them and how now they have been driven in the compassionate and the understanding of being in a comfortable environment. Now, when they are coming back to school, how does this play out in their day-to-day lives? For instance, we have issues like I want to maybe get myself into education sector. There are papers needed, and maybe I don't have the papers, but I can see I have a calling maybe to be a teacher. But I need some papers. When I'm coming back to school, do you have a structured curriculum for me to be able to acquire the papers and the skills needed in the shortest time possible for me to achieve my goal? That is the question I'd want us to answer when we come back after the break. Viewer, I hope you're learning as much as I am about adult and continuing education. Send in your question, your comments across all our social media networks. That's GBS TV Africa. Our SMS line is 21144. We'll be back shortly.